Welcoming to the show, the boys in Beauty School Dropout. How are you guys?
Excellent. How are you?
Beepus, Coley, and Bardo?
Yes, sir.
Doing great. I'm doing great. Great to see you guys. You made a great record, by the way.
Thank you so
We
much.
made plans. God laughed. I want to get into your history, the record. The record is like chock full of amazing songs, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I love it. And I spent some time with it recently. Talk to me about how you all met, how it started, what you listened to growing up musically.
Yeah, I was like scrolling on Grindr one day and I found these two beautiful young lads and I was like, oh,
And I said yes immediately.
great. Yeah, Bardo was a lot of a fight,
I
but
had to be,
Coerced.
yeah. I was into it though.
no coercion.
No,
Just, assisted.
Kisses.
Because it's hard to imagine. Your first show was like 2021. You've actually only been doing shows together for a couple of years, right?
Yeah, as of, I think May last year? That was when we started playing shows
Yeah,
officially?
2021. Yeah.
Our little underground
Holy hell.
post-COVID definitely should not have been doing that legally, but we did.
Yeah,
Anyways.
we did it at a vintage resale shop.
That was your first show.
Yeah.
and
Amazing.
It was
Shout
like
out Haven House.
Shout out Haven House. It was like flooded with alcohol by the end of our set. Like their dressing rooms, literally, it was like a swamp.
Amazing.
I had just gotten over COVID too, and I still had like an extended cough, and so I right before the show downed a whole bunch of cough medicine, thinking it would help me, but then it just made me terribly ill pretty much going into the show. And so it was a nightmare.
Well, I love the story, Cully. When you were like 4, you said to your dad, I got to become famous, right? And at 4 years old, you don't know your plan in life, but you knew right away what you wanted to do, right?
Yeah, I suppose I've always kind of felt I had a destiny a little bit, or just I don't know, maybe I just decided early on I had an intention, but I was kind of bred into it. Like my dad loved rock and roll, and from the womb, I was almost named Stevie Ray or Eddie Van. And then my mom was like, Rich, you're a fucking idiot.
But all your dads are friends.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now they are.
We call them the DILF Squad. They have a group chat.
They do.
Yeah, it's the DILF Squad.
And I saw an interview with them all, and they were all talking about how proud they were of you and all their influences and how they were bringing you to see bands early on. And then you became friends with the bands.
Mm-hmm.
And so they must be super proud of where you're at, and they see you living the dream. Did they ever play music themselves?
My dad had bands. Yeah.
My dad was a dancer. He still is
like
a
stripper,
dancer.
or what? What kind of dancer? I mean,
he's rhythmic, I would say, not
Okay.
necessarily musical,
Okay.
but rhythmic. Yeah,
When you say a dancer,
he loves improvisational dance,
Okay.
and you'll meet PJ at some point. He'll just appear. He was actually at the Christmas party.
Oh, he was okay.
Yeah, he was the guy in the giant fur pimp coat with
Yeah, that's
sunglasses.
true.
Well, he didn't. Does he dance for a living, or he just?
No, he
dances?
just for fun, and
Okay.
he just
He had some pretty sizable performances, though. He was telling me about he did something at the Red Rock Amphitheater where he danced with.
he's just friends with a bunch of DJs, and they just bring him out and he just flops around, and he's shenanigans. He's a Burning Man
an
guy.
icon.
He just loves.
Dr. Shenanigans.
He's Dr. Shenanigans. He's our vibe curator.
I love it. Beepus, will you pull the mic up a little closer to you?
Of course.
Okay, cool. So at a certain point you meet, and actually you were like a 5-piece early on. So talk to me about how the band went from being the 5-piece, how you all met besides Grindr, because maybe you met on Grindr, maybe you didn't.
Yeah, I mean, so we met. Well, technically, we met our drummer first. We found him. I used to be in a project called Strange Faces. We needed a drummer about 8 weeks out before we were going on tour, and he needed a lockout. And so he took advantage of the fact that we had a lockout, and we just fell in love immediately. So I ended up cherry picking him.
I joined that band too.
Yeah.
Later down the line.
But
So that's
how did you guys meet?
The real story is Cole hit up my ex-girlfriend to hang
In the DMs, right?
in the DMs to hang out, and then she was like, "Can I bring my boyfriend?" And that was me. And look
That was
who's
my
still in
boyfriend.
love.
Yeah.
We made it. We got married.
So it's interesting. She was like, "Hey, I'm going to bring my boyfriend," and were you like, "I want to still meet you," or were you like, "Maybe this sounds like a bad idea"?
No,
I'm gonna
I
get
was
punched
like-
in the face or something.
I was like, yeah, for sure. Let's do it. Because to be honest, it all started because I was interested in one of her friends. And so I was like, I just was like, I don't know, I want to be familiar with the crew.
That's
Yeah.
a crazy plan to get to a girl, hit up her friend, and hang out with her friend's boyfriend to then get to the friend. But also genius. It's
Yeah,
like
funny-
Mission Impossible.
I mean, it worked.
It worked.
But also, I don't know. I had good intentions. There was never anything weird about it. I just wanted.
Now you got a for lifer out of it.
Yeah, totally.
That was the
I got
best DM slide ever.
Yeah, exactly.
And early on, Cully, you were like writing for other artists, and Barda, you were producing. I think Beepish, you've been in punk bands a lot, right?
Yeah, I've just been doing the band thing my whole life.
Yeah, we've all kind of had bands. I used to write for like one of my good friends, Gavin Haley, and then like Highly Suspect, some other groups.
Sure.
And then like when we met, he was already producing for a ton of artists as well. And we kind of all got in the room and it clicked. It was just immediate magic.
And then you decided to live together, sleep in one bed. And the rest is history.
Yeah, you know.
Here we are,
To
married.
slightly backtrack, we like our first show was supposed to be South by, and then COVID happened, and so we were a 5-piece. And then when you're locked in a house and all these tight quarters for so long, you go through trials and tribulations a lot faster, and we just found what worked for us.
And at some point, the other guitar player just didn't work out because you figured it was easier to be a 3-piece. And even though the drummer is sort of a part of the band, you're the forward-facing, you know.
Yeah. We had a good conversation about it recently that was like we got to kind of spill all our beans and, you know, talk about how we felt on it. Because I think we had very different takes on the situation. But yeah, I mean, it's all love. There's no like disrespect or anything. It's just like I think that is kind of one way or another. I think it would have ended up being what it is now. You know,
It's funny. He's an incredibly talented guitarist and producer. Yeah, and he's like doing massive shit now. And it's kind of funny. We talked about it recently. And he said, he's like, you know, this is something that I've seen it now, and I realized that wasn't even my vision from the beginning. Like he's like, I understand now after seeing where you guys are at and like what you guys are doing. Like that wasn't what I wanted to be a part of. And
But also, this is probably the fate and destiny of the band because it turned out this is working for you.
Yeah, totally. And I think more so where it was a weird thing. It was just it's always the issue of friendship and brotherhood and business, and it's like how do you juggle those things? And it's life. It's a weird game we play. So
Yeah. It's also really hard to get 5 people to sleep in one bed.
yes, yeah. It's only a full. It's not even a queen size.
Well, we used to have bunk beds.
Right. Okay.
Actually, we
That's
used to
an
have bunk
actual
beds.
fact.
There was like early days of the house.
Yeah, we used to have like 5 people on our spot. It was ridiculous.
Both rooms had 2 bunk beds in each, and we were all like, it was like full camp style.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wait, Cully, can I get you to pull your mic down a little bit because it's like kind of covering your face? a
Yeah,
little
I can
bit.
sit up
Just
straighter
wanna-
too.
or just pull it down like a teeny bit so it's not covering your face. Cool.
Yeah.
So talking about earlier on, I actually saw this great video, a really funny video. I love the content that you do. It's funny that you almost need like a content person these days. I know like the Struts and I are friends, and they have a guy that just follows them around doing content all day long. But you did this great video about looking for like a sugar mommy, and you were looking for a house in the hills. And you're like,
we're still looking.
We're still looking.
still
So,
looking.
you know,
We're still looking.
You
That one
took out
didn't
an
work out.
ad. I mean, you do still live together, right?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
And how is that going? I mean, you get along famously well. You can tell that you get along incredibly well. So, talking about living together, and even that video it was sort of like a joke, but maybe it wasn't a joke.
It was a half-baked joke. I mean, I think like everything we put out is kind of us on spot, just being like, okay, how stupid can we be right now? And then we're like, this stupid, perfect, and then we run with it, you know. As far as living together, I mean, I think we can all chime in on that, but like, I fucking love these boys till the day I die. And I think obviously there's always ups and downs. It's a marriage, but with 3 people instead of 2. And so to like be able to grow together instead of growing apart has been a really cool thing. And I think we do a really good job of communicating and exploring each other's like, you know, strengths and weaknesses and how
G-spots.
Yes.
And early on musically,
Prostates.
were your dads into the same kind of music? Because you were kind of into like grunge, right? And the rest of you guys were into like pop punk. I think I know Blink. Obviously, we'll get into the Pete Wentz and the Mark connection to the band. But early on, I feel like grunge was something that you were into. Maybe you weren't into that as much, right?
We have like a nice little spectrum of where we came from. Like Coley's grunge and like hardcore and like just like that kind of like the heaviest of the 3 of us, and then I'm like the next dialed back, but like Blink, but I also like post-hardcore and stuff and some metal, and then Bardo gets the softest.
I just listen to folk music all day.
But growing up,
Humberbaker.
you like listen to like more like indie rock,
yeah, I was indie rock,
like Strokes and types of
Cage
stuff.
Elephant, like Arcade Fire, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
We all come from rock.
The Wiggles.
The Wiggles.
Yeah, Fruit Salad's the
That's-
best song ever.
Yeah.
Insane.
But yeah,
Such a banger.
Well, I think the spectrum helps because like we all want to go like heavier or like pull all of our influences, and then we found our sound.
It's interesting because this record, I feel like you've really honed in to your sound. And along the way, you meet Mark Hoppus from Blink,
Of course.
Oh,
Pete
yes.
Wentz, who we were just chatting about a minute ago. And so how did you come to meet them all?
Scheherazade, our fire breather mom who just absolutely knocks down doors for us. We met at the Nice Guy once upon a time. So
great spot, by the way.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was so funny. It was like literally, it was us. We met this woman, Sherry. Nick, our manager, kind of was, I think, knew she was on the hunt for a group. And so he invited us to watch one of his other artists perform there. We play, and it's literally like us and then Bruno Mars and who was it? Anderson .Paak sitting right behind
the
us.
booth behind us, like unplanned. And we're like, that's just them hanging alone.
Yeah.
No one else. They're just hanging out having a bro night. And we're having a bro night. We're like, okay, it's fate.
Oh, it's bro nights.
Yes.
So she brought Mark and she brought Pete.
She didn't even bring them there.
I know.
Our manager kind of cupided us because he just kind of put us next to each other and we started chatting. And she's like, okay, well, I want to hear your stuff. And I guess it got sent to her. And then at the time, this label that they were forming, VerseWire, they were looking for their first band to sign, and they had a bunch of different options. And the story goes, there's an email thread where there's like 30 bands or something that like are on this email thread with Mark and Pete, and there's like, what's the sauce? And they're like, Beauty School Dropout is the sauce.
Both of them.
The email thread was so dope though. Getting it back was such a sick affirmation because it was literally like a thread with Pete Wentz, and it's like a list of 30 bands, and the only response was, Beauty School Dropout's pretty cool. Yeah. Like that was it. That was literally the whole email back was just Beauty School Dropout's pretty cool of like this, whatever massive list of acts that they were looking at. And so that was
like Drake was on there, I think.
Yeah, Drizzy Drake.
We got picked over Drake.
Yeah.
Supposedly Mark like discovered Drake or something.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Strange.
Yeah.
Is that? Do you think that's a thing? Did he
Factual.
really discover Drake?
Yeah, he did.
Are there like amazing Blink stories that Mark has told you over the years?
Oh, the best.
So many.
Yeah.
When you go tell Mark what your favorite song is, and he goes, that's actually my least favorite one. And I'm like, nice.
Or their LLC is like what, pee pee poo poo something.
Pee pee poo poo LLC. They wanted to make their lawyers say pee pee poo poo.
And they literally had to go to court and stand by it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Insane.
I love when you're doing this record, you keep trying to slide in like the Blink riffs in there and to see if like Mark noticed when you're in the studio.
Oh,
right?
that's my favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
I like just playing them and see. And
Phoebus is a Blink-182 jukebox. He can
Oh,
play
I can
every
play
Blink
every
song
song.
It's
front to
wild.
back.
I'm not ashamed of this, but they're my favorite band of all time. And Mark knows for sure. But
There's oh wait, no, go.
I get so giddy. I like still haven't gotten over it. I love that man so much. I'm so honored to have been able to work with him in this capacity. So it's just like childhood dreams fulfilled to the maximum level.
And he actually hadn't done a gig for I think a couple of years until he played with you recently, right, at the Moroccan Lounge.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
We had no idea. We just like, he was like, oh, like, okay, yeah, you're going to come pull up and do the song with us. And then like 10 minutes before we go on, he's like, yeah, this is my first gig in 2 years. I'm like, oh, okay.
Had you known that he was going through cancer and what he was going through?
Oh, yeah. Like,
Of course.
He was pretty honest with you about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Sure.
We actually got signed as he was like finishing up his like, I don't know the correct terms, but like he was getting his like final checkups to make sure he was actually good. And so like when we first met him, we had to be like super careful and conscious and like making sure that we were healthy and going.
Oh yeah, I mean, I feel like COVID was probably around you at some point.
Yeah.
Given that you were out and about, right? And so you got to be especially careful. And living together, I'm sure you're always in these like party scenarios, right?
Oh, yeah,
So,
COVID loves us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But COVID, in a way, it's strange because for a lot of people, it obviously wasn't a period of time when people were thriving. But I feel like for you as a band, you got to really hunker down and get into the songwriting and work on this record. So in a way, certainly not a blessing for anyone in the world, but for you as from an artistic standpoint, I guess it wasn't a bad thing, right?
it was a great silver lining for sure.
Yeah.
It really
Yeah.
kicked our ass in an amazing way. We learned who we are for sure, sonically, and I think just aesthetically and friendshiply and sexually. And
I feel like it almost impacted more of like the development outside of the music besides like everything besides the music. Because I mean, I don't know, when we're in our writing modes, we kind of just haul ass like every single day we lock in and we just bust out new material as like prolifically as we possibly can. And then whatever we pivot and start focusing more on aesthetics and all the assets that are going to support that, right? But yeah, when we were in COVID, I feel like that was a great opportunity for us to learn mostly about our business and like how we wanted to operate. I think that was a big contributing factor to where we are now, because like when we started this, it was like, yeah, we're a band. And we're like, we're going to meet up and play music. And you're like, oh, that doesn't really do shit as far as like, you know, getting signed and like leveraging yourself into bigger plays and doing all that. So
Well, take it back a little bit
part's
because you were mentioning South by Southwest. So the pandemic hits, you're actually supposed to be playing there, and obviously everything went to hell, right? And
Yeah.
then what kind of transpired at that point? You along the way at that point, you meet Mark and Pete.
Well, we met Mark and Pete February
Literally
of last year.
Yeah, a year ago.
Yeah, so we're just coming up on a year of being signed, and during the quarantine era, like it was just like so much writing, so much just like bunkering down. Like we figured out like our sauce on TikTok, like doing covers, like really worked for us in the early days, and like it was kind of all that stuff, like how to market ourselves online because there's no other option. And I think we always knew that live was going to be our bread and butter, which it is. That's like where we thrive the most.
Our superpower.
Our superpower, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, talk to me about that because TikTok has become a big part of the strategy, right? Early on, you're doing covers of like Lil Nas X and Drake and all these songs that you wouldn't necessarily expect you guys to do. Because I love the fact that you're bringing like danger back to rock and roll, or you want to bring danger back, right? Because I don't hang out with you enough to know you're bringing danger back, other than the videos I see. But I feel like conceptually, like we need that again in music, right? Because if you look at I was just showing you a picture of when I was playing music out here years ago from the Guns N' Roses era, and I always feel like there needs to be a band that takes their place and carries the torch. I know you're sort of from that more the Blink generation, but I feel like the danger when Guns N' Roses was around years ago doesn't really exist anymore in rock and roll.
It got safe.
It got very safe. It'd be great to sort of bring it back in a way. Is that something that you feel like you want to bring back to music, that element of danger a little bit?
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. But also, I think we just like inherently do it. We're all kind of stupid and fucked up.
Right.
Yeah, I think the danger aspect is beyond just being dangerous. Like you can, it's beyond the music side of things. You know what I mean? You can make, and we can make an EDM song right now, and it's like how we go about doing that is the danger side. I think people just have gotten safe and like want to adhere to what everyone else is doing. I think we always strive to like, how can we be different? How can we iterate? How can we beat ourselves every time and just do it in the coolest, most interesting way possible? And I think that's where the danger thing comes in.
I can't wait till we're putting pop songs out and old dads are like, they're not fucking dangerous.
And
this is rock and roll. Gatekeep. You're like,
Well, it's
fuck.
funny because as long as you're like eliciting a response, good or bad, people are talking, right?
Exactly.
And
Absolutely.
I kind of heard one of you talking the other day. You kind of wish people were talking shit about the band just to elicit some response, right?
Yeah.
You don't even mind as long as people are talking. So at this point, I think people are talking.
Yeah.
And do you feel like TikTok was one of the first things that got people really interested in the band early on?
For sure.
Yeah, definitely.
It was like a huge explosion that actually happened, like for our initial jump. Like we were only doing Drake covers until one popped off, and that was our whole mantra, was only Drake. And it worked.
24/7 of Drake
It
covers.
took like 3 covers, and then
but we ended up doing like 10 Drake covers.
Yeah, we still. I mean, beep us. You know,
I don't like Drake.
but me and Cole love Drake. So
That's so funny. So ultimately, you feel like this was like the right strategy for you doing that. And at a certain point, I think you were actually homeless too, right, Coley?
Yes, for a year and a half. But it wasn't like tent homeless. It was just like whatever better couch I landed in that night, homeless.
And that was before the band was together early on.
Yeah, so I pretty much like I had moved up here. I went to school for like 8 weeks, dropped out, and that whole next year and a half, we went on tour for about a month. So that was like a month of that year and a half. But then following that, I mean, I had no money and no real. I was naively stupid and refused to get a job that was real. I was like, no, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. And I did that, you know, for a year and a half. It was just like a lot of freelancing, I used to work with Winston House. So I was co-producing events for them for years back when it was still just a house in Venice. And that was honestly where I would kind of like sneak in to stay a lot.
In the kitchen.
Sorry,
or
Corey.
something.
Yeah, just like the dingiest, grossest little cum couch you've ever seen. That was my bed.
It's got to put things in perspective now, though, like having some success that you're having, right?
Yeah, 100%. I'm never going to fucking do that again. But also it makes touring really easy because I'm like, oh, wow, a whole row in a van. This is sick. Fire.
We
Like-
love touring. Touring's are
Yeah.
like we get along great on the road, which is awesome. I think a lot of bands have that issue, and I feel like we're like a like a SWAT team unit or something. And we're like going into the mission every day. And like, what do we got to do? We all have our own little role.
I think our sauces, though, we're really good at kissing and making up no matter what. Like, actually, because my favorite tour story from the last tour was we were in Ohio and we pull up to this farmer's market and Bardo and I get in a full-on fist fight. And I'm like punching him in the head and he's like putting me in a chokehold. And it's just...
And over what, by the way? What are you fighting over?
He flicked
vegetables or something?
No, he tried to flick me in the downstairs region, and then I tried to hit him back, and then it just accelerated to a full-on brawl in the parking lot. And then we 2 seconds later, we're like, I'm sorry, did I actually hurt you? I love you.
And we just walked away together, and everyone else in the group was like, "What the fuck just happened?" Like
it was crazy.
Everything with the whole, they were like, "Cool, let's go get some coffee." And just spent the rest of the day together.
Because the idea of getting in a fight at the farmer's market doesn't sound that dangerous when you think about the vegetables, the fruits over there. But ultimately, I guess you found something to fight about. It's funny.
Yeah,
I think it just there's always tensions and things, and it's like emotions. But I think we're good at like communicating and like. Even when things get tense, like, okay, we are married, you know what I mean? And we accept that. And just like, we got to work past it.
Stay together for the kids.
Exactly. Most bands, if they're on the road, especially in like you're touring in a van, you do not want to live together when you're off the road. You're like, the last person I want to see is these guys. But it's actually the opposite with you.
Yeah, we love each other.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's like when we get home from 2 months of touring and we walk into our rooms and we're like, all right, night boys, love you. And it's just like, we're all in the same house still. We live, eat, breathe, shit this whole fucking culture. It's our life. So.
Is there some truth that you actually sleep in the same bed together?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
It depends.
On days that end with Y.
Well, on tour, we were like falling on a budget. 1 hotel room, 5 people every night. Mm-hmm. So everyone shared a bed.
I did that for a while, and it's funny because people think that touring's so glamorous, and then they see the pictures of like 5 guys or 4 guys sleeping in a bed at the Motel 6. It's not as glamorous as you think it is.
It's so not. Our life, at least, is so not glamorous.
Yeah.
No.
We're really good at making it look glamorous, though.
Which is really funny to like try and explain to new partners when they're coming in and they're like all wooed by all this shit they see or like the things that we do, and then you're like, no, like we do it. Yes, but in terms of like our interests and you know where our lives actually are, it's like we're still definitely in the twigs, like trying to fucking climb our way out.
Are you constantly creating music in the house, or do you have to set aside time to write, or is it just like you wake up and someone has a riff or an idea? Or
I think Coley's always coming up with riffs and shit. He's like the idea guy. But I think we really do set aside time to write because there's also so many other things we got to do. Like, I mean, I also produce for other people. Beepus is like doing a bunch of like stuff with his brand, and then Coley does like tattoos and stuff like that. And then like we all do stuff with other people as well. So it's just we definitely set aside time for it. But the ideas are kind of just always happening. We just voice memo everything all the time.
We're like a song a day band.
Yeah,
like we really do write a song a day, damn near.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Well, this new record is great. We were just talking about it a little bit. So talk to me about a little bit how it came together. You work with Andrew Goldstein on the record.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you work with a lot of your heroes, your icons, people that you looked up to. And so, I mean, I feel like it definitely has a much more direction. The other stuff was great, but this record, it really came together, for me at least.
Yeah. I feel the same. I think like what happened was we signed, and like literally the day after we signed, they're like,
cool, you're in
sessions. Let's go. Let's get an album done. And so we're like, cool. So we were just writing like 5-6 days a week with all these cool people: Dan Book, Andrew Goldstein, Alex Gasgarth. Like it was just like Mark wrote with us a bunch on the first project, and then ended up featuring on Almost Famous, which was super cool. But yeah, it was just like this, like, let's go. And so we just like really dived in, and writing was our only focus for like 2 months, which was super cool. Like that's all I think we wanted to do.
And how many songs did you ultimately record for this record?
Probably at least 20 to 30.
So will any of those songs maybe carry on to the new record? It's all going to be new stuff.
There's some more for this new stuff that we're working on. Yeah,
our catalog is crazy.
It's hard because we make so much music and we love so much of it that like having to take this step back and be disconnected and look at it from a standpoint of like, okay, what is the most universally palatable versus just like what we like, you know, and having to accept like, okay, we talked about this on the way over here, like, do we want to be like a punk rock band, or do we want to be the biggest band in the world?
Right.
Which is like a, you know, kind of a hard pill to swallow, especially when you're not really like in your bag yet. And so trying to be conscientious of those decisions, but leaning towards biggest band in the world.
Yeah.
So, there's going to be a lot of.
I think we're always, it's kind of going off of what you just said, like, and literally on the conversation we had in the car over here is like, and the danger piece. I'm tying it all together right now. This is beautiful.
That's why you're a producer.
This is a producer. Yeah. I think it's how we approach being the biggest band in the world is what matters. Is like, we're always going to do that in a way that's authentic to us, and we're going to fucking kick down doors and piss people off the entire time. But our music is going to be undeniable, and our shows are always going to be better than yours. So we will be the biggest band in the world and still do it like a fucking punk rock band.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
It's interesting because there is an appetite for this kind of music and rock and roll in Europe that there's not in America. I feel like rock and roll in America, if you look at the lineup of Coachella, there's no rock music
at all.
It's actually really disappointing. I mean, I used to love going to Coachella, but the lineups were Rage Against the Machine and this one, and now it's like there's not a rock artist in sight.
I shared it. I was like, I'm simply going for Knocked Loose.
Yeah, Knocked Loose is playing Sunday, and I'm just like, I kind of want to go for that day.
I think that's the big thing that we're missing is like the danger thing you're talking about. It's like people go to these shows and it's like they're missing the tenacity of these bands.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? And I think that's something we've always been. It's like we're always trying to, and there's a couple bands that like we still look up. Like Fever is a band that they kick our ass live. And Bring Me is like another band that like, okay, but it's like our goal is like we want to be the best live show that we can fucking possibly be. And it's like we kind of take it like a sports team in a way.
Yeah.
Like we watch ourselves back and like we watch tape and like
we also like totally condition for our tours and like
we train.
He swims every day.
Yeah.
I'm in the gym every day. Like Beepus is
I work out now.
Yes, he's cycling. He's cycling.
I Peloton a lot.
I got one too. I love it.
I love it.
He's gonna be the one that in like 10 years is doing giant fucking triathlons, and he's like fully ripped.
Definitely not.
Oh yeah.
No triathlons.
No.
Just Peloton races.
It's crazy though because he doesn't sweat. He like
I don't sweat.
I don't understand it.
After a show, literally everyone in the band is like disgusting, and I'm just dry as a bird, and I'm just like hugging and I'm just saying what's up to everyone. No one thinks I'm gross, and then everyone touches like Coley, and he's like literally like swimming wet.
Disgusting.
The weird thing about Peloton is they have classes on there. They have like a death metal class, and I'm like, I don't think Slayer intended for their music to be for the Peloton. But something tells me nobody created that music for
it
that.
Helps me. It helps me. I like all the rock ones, and then it's like a Bring Me one and like all this stuff. It's like it's the best way to work out.
It is, but being kind of bringing it back for a moment, being a rock band 2023 in the US, what's that like for you? I mean, persistence is something, and the word persistence comes up when you think about being a rock band these days. If you're not like on it, hitting it hard 24/7, because rock is not, the music of flavor at this, at the moment in the States, like you don't make it. So obviously your work ethic really plays into this. So talk to me about the kind of work ethic you have to be a band like yours and going out on the road. And you're doing a tour with Jaden coming up soon.
Oh, yes.
So is that a van tour you do? Is that a tour bus?
We're getting an RV.
Okay.
That's the sauce for this
Tell me
one.
about the tour life and what it's like going out on the road for you guys now.
We just work our asses off. Like, genuinely, I think all of us want this so bad that there's just no other option. I love the saying that plan B is your plan A, because we don't have plan Bs.
Mm-hmm.
And so...
Well, never mind.
Sometimes Cole takes plan B. But
my
we don't
are fried. Sorry.
But jeez. But yeah, like so we're 7 days a week. It doesn't matter like what's going on. Like all of us are hustling our asses off. And when we're on the tour, Bardo is like still producing for other people and like making his craft perfect, and like we're still just like doing everything in our power to make sure that this is what happens and showing ourselves to the world in every way we can.
I think it's also contingent on a lot of different factors, but for us especially, it's like we refuse to forfeit control. Like we oversee just about every single thing that comes out of this world that we've built. And so like, not every artist is the same. A lot of artists don't care about the business or don't even want to know about the business. They just want to be like, I play music and that's it, right? And so I guess it depends. But for us, yeah, I mean, we're so just psychotic about the way that we move and how we do things that we're like, no, we're doing it this way. And it's going to be all day, every day. And you're going to fucking love it.
Like I do our accounting.
Wow, I love that.
We just finally got a business manager, but like I've been doing our like accounting.
I do our prostate exams. It's great.
Well, you talk about Mark A&Ring the band. Is he pretty active? Are you sending him songs every week?
Yeah.
Is he involved in the writing process on this new record that you're about to?
We actually haven't written anything with him for the new one, but we send him stuff all the time, and he gives notes, and it's pretty cool. It's like, it's actually, I was talking about this last night with a friend. It was like, it's this weird thing getting notes back from someone that you really look up to and admire and respect their opinion. And then it's equally as weird to disagree with that opinion.
So when you disagree with them, what happens? So because ultimately, I mean, they were like your favorite band for
And of course, I mean, this I can only speak for myself, but it's not like a disagreement like you're wrong. It's more just like, oh, okay, interesting. I hear you, but I think we still want to go a different direction on this one, or like, okay, let's try it and just see what happens, And it's just like, but it just beyond all of it, it's just having that sounding board of Mark and Pete to like go to and like ask questions is crazy, And it's like, I think we're just immensely grateful for that, for sure.
And what's cool about having an A&R that's like done it versus like a suit is like they understand that your vision matters to you, and you're not just gonna like fall victim to like whatever like the label or like whatever like the suits say. They're like, they want us to see our vision through and just support it, which is the coolest situation to be in.
He really does protect us. My favorite Mark moment in like a A&R meeting was there's a song that like we rock with. A lot of some other of the team didn't fully understand, but Mark was like, I get it. And we knew also Travis had heard it and fucked with it because it's like a song we did with Jaden, like we're going to be putting out before tour. And in this A&R meeting, and Mark is like, everyone's discussing, and Mark just hops on Zoom and he goes, well, I don't really know, but I do know I've been right 50 million times. And this song is awesome. And everyone's just like, okay, song's awesome. Yep, sure.
The GOAT has spoken. All right.
I don't think the world could have predicted what a huge tour that their tour coming up would have been. I mean, sold out everywhere. I think they're playing stadiums, right?
Yeah. We're doing everything in our power to try and get them to take us.
There's got to be, I mean, you're on the guy's label. If you're listening, Mark, I think it makes sense, right? We got to get the boys on some of those dates for sure.
I still firmly believe, this is my pitch, guys. There should be a Blink-182 by Jaden by BSD tour. It only makes sense. Yeah. Like 2/3. And then, Tom can sign his act and then that'll be the other band, but whatever. It's like, wouldn't it make sense to have a giant incestual family affair of like the Rock?
We'll call it the family road
boys.
trip.
Yeah.
The
Griswolds. Take America.
Daddy, please.
But yeah, actually, like, I mean, I'm sure in terms of what is legitimate in reality, like we're probably up against some pretty hot shot contenders if there are any other slots open for them on the tour. So, how realistic it is, I don't know, but that doesn't mean we're not going to work our asses off to make it happen. So we'll see. Even if it's one show of the whole next 2 years of touring they have, I will still be so happy. Also, Turnstile is like my favorite band ever. So I'm like,
amazing band.
Fuck.
They really blew up this year, actually.
We love them so much.
Oh, I love them. That's like my heart and soul. I have Glow On tatted on my arm.
They're a huge inspo for us.
Yeah.
My first introduction to you guys was the video for Almost Famous with Mark in the video. And the video is about Mark sort of teaching you how to be a rock band. Hey, don't wear this, and this is the way you do it. And smile. You're not smiling. And it's actually hysterical. And it's such a great video. Yeah. So the feedback from that video, what's it been for you guys? And I'm sure it's been incredible in the song. The song is one of my favorite songs that you do.
Thank you. I think everyone like really likes it because we put a lot more like emphasis on just like the shenanigans than actually the music in the video, which some people are into and some people aren't. But like, I love it because none of that was scripted. Mark is the best actor ever. And so like, he just created this character named Todd that doesn't exist. And
he's always like, where's Todd? Where's Todd?
Yeah, the whole time. The whole day, actually, he's like, Todd. And we're like,
there is no Todd.
He's a genius.
He's a genius.
It's insane. The way he riffs is wild. Same with Pete too. I mean, when we did like the whole ad campaign for Assassin, when we put them at the table together and we're like, okay, cool, do your thing. Oh my God, the shit they were saying, it's like, how do you even think of that off top?
But it was trippy to see them sitting at a table together and we're like, we did this. Like we are the reason that these two goated bassists are sitting together at a table making stupid jokes together.
It does get me off that like our mentors in this are both bassist, and it just shows the future for me,
Yeah, I think Pete's coming on the show soon. They're getting ready to put out some new music, and they've started. I think they just played the other day actually at the Forum. Yeah, but the name of the record actually came about from a tweet, did it not?
Yeah. It was. Well, I had seen the tweet the day before the session. In my head, I was like, "Oh my God, that is such an amazing concept, and it's so aligned with a lot of what I had been dealing with at the time. And so took it, used it. Don't know who to give the pub to, so sorry, Twitter.
Well, because we wrote the song "We Made Plans with God" and God Laughed with Alex Gaskarth from All Time Low
and Dan Book.
Yes, and it was just them two. Yeah. And then, but in that session, Alex was like, "This would be a great album name." That song, and was just like,
"We're stealing it."
Yeah, we just took it.
You beat him to the punch because had you not, he probably would use it.
He would have taken it.
And he puts out an album called "We Made Plans and God Laughed." We're like, oh, Alex.
It's funny. The video features like Rockstar energy drinks, and I know you're all into fashion. We were talking about it a bit before, and you all have kind of dabbled in modeling, I think, at some point, right? Have you all modeled before?
Yeah.
To me, the least. I'm just kind of fucking flop around. But Beepus is like,
I've been on my modeling shit for a bit.
I mean, you just shot with Eddie Slimane not long ago, which is amazing.
That was the craziest thing of my life.
So how important, because I come from an era where it was all about like how you look to join a band. I mean, we would literally audition guys before, like we didn't even ask them if they were good players. We're like, what do you look like?
Yeah.
I have long black hair and tattoo. All right, you're in the band.
Yeah.
I mean, if you could play, that's a bonus. But how important is image to y'all, like, and fashion and brands and all the things that we were just speaking about before the start of this?
Yeah, I think image is very important to us.
Yeah.
Not on like a superficial level. I think like personality and being a good human is like the most important thing. But I think for us, there's just, especially living in LA, there's a lot to pull from and a lot of options. And just like for us, art and fashion is just like, it just goes together, you know?
I think it's also the qualities that come with caring about the image, right? It's like there's like a certain level of vanity that you almost have to be able to like want to output content and want to create in the box of like modeling or, whatever creative direction happens. And so I think it's a pretty big element. But like you said, first foot forward is always just being a good human and being the best like collective group that we can to all the people around us.
No question. But you look at back in the day and you look at the Stones and the Beatles, and it was such a big part of their brand overall. So I feel like one of the reasons why I love you, like I was saying, is that there's an overall package here. The music's great, but you have the image to go along with it. And there's so many bands that are faceless, and some of the bands you mentioned along the way, I won't get into which ones, but I couldn't tell you for the life of me what half these guys look like.
Sure.
And so I come from the era where it all had to fit and be a package together. And I feel like there's more to just music that you want to do. I feel like there's probably acting, and I'm sure there's, besides producing, what else is there to accomplish as a band here?
We definitely all want to act. For sure.
So much, yeah.
I'm super into fashion on the other side too. I have a brand I'm starting right now, and
can we talk about that? Is it the Beepus brand?
Yeah, it's called Beepus Inc. No, I'm just kidding. It's actually called Dumb Rubber. I'm starting it with my girlfriend Royal, and I just am so excited to like go on that venture because I always wanted to be a clothing designer, and so like I'm getting my foot finally into that door because I did all of our merch. Well, we all did it, but like I've like been really into like the actual creation of the garments and all that stuff, and I'm just diving harder into that.
Did you make this, by the way? This is a cool
No,
jacket.
this is a custom, though. I
okay.
stole it from my girlfriend. It says rats or die and stuff all over it. It's literally like her custom one thing, and I just was like, I'm stealing this.
We were talking about her a little bit. She's a friend of the magazine. I don't know when there's something going on with her, but anyway. Talk about a little bit about your collaboration. You work with her a little bit on Starfucker, and I know she comes out on stage with you, and she performs. And I feel like she's like almost like the fifth member of the band.
Yeah.
So it's great to see her on this ride with you, and also having great success.
Yeah, she's crushing it. She's an incredible artist. Very early on in our career, she took us on tour as her band, and that was
Royal and the Serpent.
Yeah, Royal and the Serpent.
Yeah.
Which was our first touring experience all together as Beauty School Dropout, which was really cool being able to do that as her band because we like learned all like the intricacies of making sure just our only job was to make sure everything went well and just like support her. So I think it was like a boot camp. Like how do we tour together for someone else?
We'd probably done 2 shows as BSD at that point too. So it really was like a catapult into the world of like big touring and seeing how we have to operate in order to achieve that, which was really, really cool. I think that put us at an advantage for sure.
And she let us like play our song that we have out together on her tour, which was
awesome.
So dope. And so like we just got like really good taste, and we continue to collaborate. We have written songs with her. And
Is she going to be on the new record?
No.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if she wants to.
But yeah,
Text her if she wants to. Sure,
yeah, if she wants to.
And
Does she
live with you too?
Well, see, I think I have 2 houses.
Okay.
I sleep at her house, and then I have an office, which is where the boys are. But I have 2 houses. It's a rich mindset, you know?
Yeah, abundance.
I was telling you, I think I went to one of her first shows in Brooklyn back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Atlantic Records brought me to her showcase there, and she was great. And it's great to see her rise to success. And would you feel like you have the same community of fans that she does? Is it the same fan base?
There's so much crossover.
Yeah.
It's actually so cool because everyone knows us and her together, and like it feel like it's like a trade-off. Like if they find out about us, they're guaranteed to find out about her, and vice versa. It's a very fortunate situation. I love her to death. We all love her. We're all dating her, actually. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, she's our mommy.
You actually have this amazing community of fans that you chat with all the time. You have a Discord, right?
Yeah.
So talk to me about your connection with the Beauty School Dropout fans, because it's actually like you want to hang out with them. I mean, it probably goes beyond like what most bands do, because I think you're really integrated with your fans. But talk to me about that connection you have with them.
I think we're just all so aware of like what we wanted out of music growing up and like the best parts that we got out of it, that we just wanted to provide that in the most ample way possible, and like be able to provide the experience within the world of like connecting on a personal level, and like, you know, just as much for us, we don't call our fans, we call them fam, like with an M, just because it's like part of the family, you know. And I think I can speak for all of us when I say like music saved our lives in one way or another, and so to be able to provide that is super important for us. I'm sure there will probably be a certain point where it's like you can only be so personal with so many people, unfortunately. But like, you know, for the time being, it's really fucking cool to see how supportive these people are and like how well they work together. Even last night, like I was in the Discord. I haven't been in because we've been so busy, but I was like, there's apparently a new user. Everything's faceless, right? Like you don't know who a lot of these people are, but like there's a new user who's like had some discussions that made other people in the community kind of like unfortunately uncomfortable, and they expressed that to me, and we've, you know, propagated some solutions in terms of like, you know, being like, hey, you know, for the sake of the community, like you're gonna have to like
you're blocked,
chill out. Yeah, you're done. You're done. Chill. No, just being like, yo, like we need to make sure that everybody's stoked here and like actually feeling themselves. Otherwise, like, you know, we're gonna have to banish you.
And did you banish
the
them?
kingdom?
Well, that will be determined today. But
we have a trial. We have a whole judicial system in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. The attorney, you can like apply for jobs in there.
I'm the
It's
president.
crazy. He's the president of the dropout world.
Yep.
the
sounds harder than I meant.
The only downside of it is like when you do get the one every few fans who's just like a little too obsessed and like takes that personal connection too far to where like when they're at shows they think they can just like, you know, whatever, whether that's like touching you or trying to be a little too personal with you, and you're just like, yo, like,
or they're sleeping outside your house every day or something.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah,
it's a little
exactly.
much.
Yeah.
We're open with them though. Like, we just like straight
Yeah,
with
I think
everyone.
it's just being a human and talking to people, and I love it because we get to identify who is here from the jump. Because this is going to be like Coley said, there's going to be a point where it's just so big, it's hard to keep up with everything, you know. And it's like really cool to see who were the first 1,000 kids that like really fucking came out and like showed love for this thing we're building. When there's 500,000 kids, and then you're just like, cool, I remember these ones, you know?
Yeah, I love the fact that like every show you've done has been sold out. But at a certain point, right, maybe not every show will be sold out, but to this point, every single show you've done has been sold out, I believe, right?
in LA, yeah.
In LA, which is great. So you're getting ready to go on this tour with Jaden coming up. You must be psyched. Last year was a big year for you, Reading, Leeds.
Totally.
This year you got Download Festival, Metallica, Slipknot. That's got to be like a
We
dream
just
come
locked in
true,
a
right?
few more too.
Yeah, we can't talk about yet, but
Although, are you
I
metal
want
guy?
to.
I don't know if you're metal guys. Is that exciting for you, like Metallica, Slipknot?
I'm a metal guy. I'm like punk, hardcore metal through and through. So I love that shit.
I have
but-
a metal palette.
Yeah.
I don't love
like
all
that.
metal.
I
metal
respect
palette.
it. I respect it.
Yeah.
You know?
But that's got to be one of the highlights. Is there a highlight? Was Reading and Leeds your highlight last year?
Oh, that was
Tour?
Yeah,
So definitely
yeah,
one of the biggest
absolutely.
highlights. Just going to the UK in general is like something we all like wanted to do. So that was super cool.
And you got this tour with Jaden coming up. How does that friendship come about? Have you met him? Have you guys?
That was also a pretty long history of events. But in short, Spark Notes, we pretty much started just being in each other's orbit throughout LA and kept landing in each other's you know, point of view when we were at different parties or whatever, and it took a few intros, but finally we just like, it was pretty weird timing. Like him and I actually both lost pretty close friends around the same time, and I think we were struggling with that. And then when we met, it just like the way that we were all able to like give each other support and comfort just became the friendship. And so since then, we've just grown super close. We work together. I mean, fuck, we're at his house or he's at ours almost every other day working on music. And so it's been really cool to be able to explore that creatively as well as just like as people on a personal level outside our artistry. And yeah, I am beyond excited for the tour.
That's awesome. It's great when you get to tour with friends. And this record that you're working on now should, in theory, be coming out sometime this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what we're actually going to do is do single.
Not to interrupt real quick, but I'm doing the pee-pee dance. I'll be right back.
Okay. I think we're doing single by single strategy for
Lock
this
the
one.
door. Lock the door.
Yeah, just don't
I
let
guess
him
we'll
back
wait
in.
a second till we get it.
I bet. He's back.
And he's
Yeah.
back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have the smallest bladder on earth, and it makes touring a nightmare.
I mean, what do you do when you're on the road and you got to hold it for like 9 hours or something?
Oh, I
you know?
don't. We all pee in bottles.
Yeah, we have
Jeez.
specific core water bottles. Sponsor us, please.
Yes.
They're
Or
the
liquid
core.
death.
or liquid death.
Or
You
liquid
don't
death.
want to pee in the liquid
Here's
death.
what we could do. Liquid death. We need you to make a water bottle that has a cap where you can screw off the top of this, and then
Yeah.
it's perfect pea size.
I see
You
a
know?
Shark Tank pitch coming up very
Yes.
soon.
So
By the way.
We actually heard about this band that drilled a hole in the bottom of their van and then had a funnel.
Oh my God.
And so you
Yeah.
could just pee out onto the street, which I thought was the most genius thing ever.
Yeah.
Like, we need that.
Straight
By the way,
up.
let's manifest this time next year you'll have a tour bus. So none of this
Yes.
will be relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
well,
God.
now we're doing RVs, so
Yeah.
now we're good. We have a bathroom.
But
Yeah.
it is a scarring thing to just always have to pee.
It is. But 2023 is going to be a big year for y'all. Let's talk about a little bit about the projects you have going on, a little bit outside of the band, because we talked about your clothing line, which is really exciting. And apparently you're the next Virgil Abloh, and you're like on it. And
He's actually it's hilarious to say that. He's like my biggest inspo. I
Yeah.
like am obsessed with Virgil.
but apparently you just
I was just filling him in on
Yeah,
how
you
like
just-
you just like took the last month to become an absolute like branding wizard.
Oh yeah, I've just been going ham. I want the biggest brand, like Rude, Off-White, all that stuff is like R13. All that is like my biggest inspo, and so I just want to like be the next one to do it.
I keep calling it Beepus Inc., but that's not the
No,
name of
that's the working title.
Yeah, that's the LLC.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what it all falls under. We'll probably launch a brand altogether eventually too. There's some conversations, but I think for the time being, like he's so focused on Dumb Rubber, obviously got to let that shine, and then you know, all of us are kind of focusing on the things that we love the most as well.
Yeah, to talk to me about it a little bit, Barty. You were talking about producing and what you got going on outside of the band too.
Yeah, I mean, that's been my bread and butter. I like learned how to produce from a young age and just kind of I love it. I love the executive production aspect of things. I love shaping visions. I love like I actually work with my sister a lot on stuff. She's an artist. She does like kind of like acoustic pop like stuff.
T-Swizzle vibes.
It's kind of T-Swizzle vibes, but I'm like now kind of getting more involved in shaping that in a way, and we're kind of taking that in a different direction. And then I also just did the Lauren Gray album with these boys too.
Great.
And then working on some stuff with Jaden for his album, and I just we've all worked together on a million different things. We just kind of like it's a fun trade-off to go from like your own music and then to get to like shift your brain into like someone else's world and like deliver their project.
And it brings something else to the table because you work with
Totally.
outside artists. It always brings something
Oh,
else.
totally. I think we're always stealing from people we work with too, because like everyone brings something. And we're like, that was genius. We want that now, and they steal from us too. And it's just that's just I think how the world works. It's
Stealing
great.
is good if you make it your own.
Exactly.
Right?
You
So
know,
at the
the
end of
best. Like Picasso said, "Good artists copy, great artists steal." We
Exactly.
just try to steal.
Yes,
And
sir.
Coley, anything you're stealing from outside of the band that you're working on?
Hey, yeah.
He keeps robbing the 7-Eleven.
Yeah, he's been a little petty theft.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, yeah, constantly to be real. I do a lot of like my whole background is in like film and cinema production and being like a PA on set and doing stuff like that, which led to a lot more event production. So as of recently, I've been taking on a lot more like directing campaigns for brands. I want to get in front of the camera more too, whether that's modeling, acting dominantly is where I'm interested. I have actually my first meeting with UTA's commercial department tomorrow. So
Awesome.
we'll see how that goes. But
I can see you guys being like Kiss, where you have like products that, you have like the Kiss coffins, the Kiss condoms, the Kiss cookware. It's like,
yeah.
it'll be all Beauty School Dropout products in the future and
We're-
your own brands too.
Yeah,
So
we're like the masterpiece of downtown LA.
Yeah.
We try to treat our merch as a brand too already, and so like we're just like we want to create worlds.
definitely.
Yeah.
Well, last but not least, something we always ask every guest is 5 albums that everyone should own. So I want to get into it with all of you here. So let's take it one by one. 5 albums everyone should own.
Oh, we get to do our each own 5?
Well, we're going to do 5 collectively.
Okay,
and
we
actually
actually pre-planned this. We agreed on 5.
Well, let's hear what you agreed on.
Okay, we'll go first. Glow On, Turnstile. That album
Great choice.
is just
amazing.
Beautiful. And then The Black Parade by My Kim. Just perfect. I won't spill them all. You can say some.
Coley?
Sempiternal by Bring Me the Horizon. Big one. And then what was the 4th?
American Idiot by Green Day.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And then the last one, Nevermind, Nirvana.
Can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong.
Never.
But an honorable mention, Golden Hour by Casey Musgraves.
We told
Another great choice. We can have an honorable mention. That's all good.
we came prepared. And Bardo was like, said that one. I was like, Bardo, you can say that as an honorable mention. Because the other 5 we fully agree on.
Well, the tour kicks off when? It kicks off very soon, I think.
February 24th, we play Ace of Spades in Sacramento.
Amazing.
And then we're on the road for 8 weeks.
Incredible. Well, if you haven't seen the band, go out and check the band. I got to come see the band sooner than later.
Yeah.
The record's great. You know, we made plans. God laughed at us. And so, is there a title for the new record yet? Can we spill the beans, or is it still being worked on?
We got to
To
finish
be
it
determined.
we got to
Yeah.
got some work to do.
Yeah, we got a lot of work to do.
Well, either way, check out the band on tour. I'm excited to see you guys. It's great hanging with you.
Thank you so
You're the
much for
best.
having us.
Yeah, I
Thank you so
love
much.
having you. And we'll see you guys soon. Appreciate it.
We
Thank
love
you.
Scott.
Awesome. Appreciate it.